Welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show with Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater. Today's empowering program will encourage you to step into your power, to take action in your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. Listen in today as we speak to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be inspired, be encouraged, be transformed. Together, let's take your power back with our host, Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach, Kim Yater.
Good morning, and welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show. I'm your host, Peak Performance Master Coach, Kim Yater. Today, we are interrupting our scheduled exclusive interview with Dawn Bohanna, who is wrongly accused and imprisoned for 25 years for the killing of Michael Jackson's sister-in-law. That show will be available and drop live next week, same time, same place, July 22nd at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific. Now, today, we bring you this emergency broadcast on California's elections. A Democrat has stepped forward. A Democratic gubernatorial candidate, Raji Raab, has filed an emergency petition demanding a full statewide ballot recount of the June 2nd primary. He is not staying silent. After receiving reports from voters across California who said the reported results did not match what they had witnessed at the polls, he took this fight directly to Secretary of State Shirley Weber's office. While his request for a 15-day extension was denied, the Secretary of State has directed that the recount begin in Shasta County, California, and has instructed the other 57 counties to stand by until further notice. The clock is now ticking. The recount must begin no later than tomorrow, July 16, 2026, once the required deposit is paid to Shasta County. But this moment is much bigger than any one candidate or political party. Free and fair elections are a bipartisan issue. They belong to every Democrat, every Republican, every independent, every no party preference voter in this state. When voters lose confidence that their ballots are being counted accurately, democracy itself is weakened no matter who won or lost. Today, we're being joined by the Democrat who filed this petition, Raji Raab, a leading voice on election integrity. He knows the Supreme Court well. He has fought the state of California multiple times standing in election transparency. Also with us is Clint Curtis, Shasta County Register of Voters clerk, who is standing for election transparency. If you followed any of our Take Our California Back to a Better Future statewide summit or movement, you've seen such. And Senator Mark Finchem from the Election Fairness Institute, who has spent years working to protect the integrity of elections. Gentlemen, I am welcoming you on into today's show. Let's bring you on in. We've got Mark Finchem. Hello, Senator. We've got Raji Raab. Welcome, Rajiv. And we've got Clint Curtis, Shasta County Registrar of Voters. Gentlemen, it is an honor to have you here. This is a very, very special day. Raji, we're going to start with you. My first question to you is, you are a Democrat who stepped forward to demand a full ballot recount. Why do you feel it was your responsibility as a Democratic candidate to lead this fight for transparency?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, everyone out there. Thanks, Mark, Clint. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come together, because this is all about our voices, and voices don't have color. Voices are colorless. Voices are about integrity, voices are about democracy. So when we talk about democracy, there are always two sides. One tries to pressure uh, transparency, and the other side tries to block the transparency. So when we are talking about democracy and we are trying to put the election process together, there should be no doubts in there. In fact, whenever anything, any question, any doubt comes from any party or any voter altogether, it should be given preference. It should be given priority. It should be welcomed, not blocked. What I see here, and what I've seen with in my experience for the last so many years, I had to fight this matter all the way to U.S. Supreme Court, and you can see how much time it takes. First, it was about the machines. They call it the machines. It's a computer system, which is not an open source system. They spent $300 million to get this computer vote system, which I believe is completely compromised. The moment you scan the ballots are decoded. In fact, the vote count is known right from the moment the election ballot is scanned into the computer system. The original ballots are taken away. The images are there. Their grounds is that, yes, even though the computer notices or observes or catches the vote count, we don't see it. So we have to actually go by the trust us why. No, we cannot run elections by trust us. It has to be equally transparent to all sides. So I ran this election from various perspectives. I went from county to county, from Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Riverside, San Diego, all the way to Northern California, Berkeley, Stanford, all the UCs, met people on the streets, met people in the malls, talked to people, and discussed the situation about the affordability crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because this election was a very monumental election. This election was the fact bringing a situation in California where everybody is up to the neck as far as the income and expenses is concerned. And till a few months back, it was clear that California was in a $20 billion deficit, no money for anything. So my now plan was a very clear plan. Complete contrast to everybody else. It said California has many problems. One solution, more money. And more money, not more taxes. And more money, not from taxes, but from global investments. And I was working on a plan with my global partners to bring $400-500 billion to California to immediately pull California out of the affordability crisis. So that was well taken. Then I was using my data center to send out 32 million ads a week to the
That's a lot of ads.
Yeah, to the same community. So in the international benchmark is, I was not focused on social media. You don't know who's legal, who's not, who's citizen, who's not, who can vote, who cannot. So I got this data from Secretary of State office, and we focused on the registered voters, 32 million a week, about 120 million a month, about 3,000 million in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go with that kind of broadcast, there is a certain formula that applies. Look, science cannot go wrong. Numbers don't lie. Whether it's your blood pressure, whether you're going to surgery, numbers matter. And there's always a worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is, everybody hates you. You have no plan. You are just going out there. You have no website. You're just pushing your numbers out there. In that case, even in that case, the worst case scenario is 0.1%, which comes to about 3 million votes that we were very, very clear about. I did not get a chance to speak to the people. I was blocked from the debates. I found that very, very, very discriminating. I left it aside because I looked at the last 10 elections. I knew the number that we needed was about 2.5 million. We worked on the 3 million number, and we were very confident. Now, I was going from county to county. I was working with diverse communities. I went to the churches. I went to the mosque. I went to the Sikh temples. I went to all these communities, and everybody was happy that the voice of a common man was finally coming to light. Plus, the most important fact here is we call this democracy. Democracy means openness. Democracy means transparency. Democracy means that the right for people to choose election, not a selection. But what
that is exactly what it should mean. I would agree.
Yes, And what I'm experiencing, I'm a Democrat. I support democratic values, but also support
Mhm.
American values. I believe when our children go to school, we don't see if it's a Democratic school or Republican school. When we go to doctors, we don't ask them which party you belong to. We go there because we believe in our system. And so the worst thing that comes up is when anyone raises a voice, instead of calling that question democratic or patriotic, they're calling questionability undemocratic and trying to silence the voice. When you try to silence the voice, that's undemocratic, that's unpatriotic. And I wrote to the Secretary of State that this is not my question. This is the question of millions of people out there who are challenging this election, who are rejecting these numbers, who are calling these results questionable because they've been done through a computer vote count, and that it is necessary, essential that we do a free and fair election by free and fair manual vote count. So I sent that request first on the 1st of July. It was sent back to me saying, hey, you sent us this request 2 days early, and you have to send it again. So I said, no problem. I sent it again, and I got the response the same day saying we have notified the 58 counties, and you'll have to pay to do the elections. Now, let me break this thing to you.
Okay, yeah, actually, let's hold right there for a second because this is huge. Okay, so you put this forth to the SOS, the Secretary of State, right? You put it forth a couple of days early. They said, nope, got to come back, got to do it on the 2nd. You did it on the 2nd.
Third.
And then they notified. So they said yes. And they notified 58 counties that there would be a recount, correct?
That is correct.
And this is something that you, a candidate, would pay for?
So I'm the only candidate in the race who stepped up. And I don't know why people are afraid to step up and be the face of the people. I stepped up and I did not mince my 1,000. I think the people who voted are half the number, and we have to pay $2.5 million. So you're talking about millions of dollars to investigate, to ask for your right, for a common person to step up. No. So the amount of money that has been put in to do the recount is actually the amount of money that's been put in to block the recount. It is so simple. And I said this straight clear to SOS. You should use your powers. Don't look at the statute. So California statute, there's only one way you can file a recount. And that is, I think 15621. And when you use that election code, then you're automatically accepting to pay. So I said, look, I have no other option to file a recount. I'm using 15621 or the election code there is, but I'm not accepting that arbitrary, condition on the people, on the voters, while there's a problem on the side of the state where there's a problem, obviously, clearly, transparently, a huge problem. It's not a little problem. It's a day-night problem. A huge deficiency, huge defect in those machines or whatever the process is that is leading to this, that needs to be looked into. I need free and fair election. That's my constitutional right. That's the right of the voters.
That's right.
You should step up and use your special power under the circumstances to order a free and fair recount. So what she did was she immediately took it out of her office, sent it to 58 counties. So that part was done. And then I started getting this huge billing number, in which one of the wonderful email was from Shasta County. Now, Shasta
that's
County,
our Clint Curtis is with us today.
I am so proud of having people. Like I said, I was talking to Mark yesterday, and I said, we need just few good people to turn things around.
And just to go back, Mark Finchem is a senator, and Mark leads the Election Fairness Institute. So Mark, I know you've got a lot to say right now, and Clint, you as well. I mean, where it stands is you got that email from Clint Curtis in response to the Secretary of State's email to all 58 counties saying, hey, get ready for a recount.
Yes. And Clint reached out by email trying to do the right thing. He said, you're going to spend a lot of money doing the recount, but we have a situation here with is a questionable situation. There's certain ballots that have been detected with abnormalities, and we have signed affidavits from people who have seen those ballots. And then I read those affidavits, and they were very crystal clear there some of them had, in fact, a lot of them had those marking as if they've been done by computer. Let me go a few years back. I didn't have that much
Well,
knowledge.
actually, Raji, hold on one second. I'm gonna just bring in Clint here, and then Mark, and I'm gonna come right back to you, and I want to hear that. Okay, Clint Curtis, Shasta County Register of Voters clerk. Clint, when you got this email, you weren't expecting an email, from the Secretary of State. So one, what was your response when you got this email? And two, Raj just touched on you seeing abnormalities or patterns. So why don't you tell us about that?
Well, we saw the abnormalities. Everybody was coming up to me as they were going through the 1% audits and everything, and they're going, something's wrong with these. They feel different. They're not the same texture. They're not the same weight. Some of them look like they've been marked with a machine. They even held them up the light and said, "There's no lines there. This is printed." So
and we've got music today. We can dance. We can be dancing through this process.
So we went through that and we collected them. We had several people look over them because they had a certain pattern to them as well that seemed odd, that all of them would come in with a pattern. And but they all went through the system, which is a major problem, because if there's fake ballots, then the system isn't working, right? Because it wasn't like they were stuffed afterwards. At least I haven't found yet. We're still looking at film to make sure that nothing happened. But if they came through the standard, everybody comes in and drops their ballot. We had also had reports of people, putting tons of ballots in the drop boxes, which in California is legal, by the way. So we had already filed that with the FBI and with the DOJ so they could investigate it. I don't know where they are, if they even started yet. But, just doing Shasta County, which has about 55,000 votes. Mm-hmm. Now, we're on the cheap side. We keep it kind of clean there. So it's 40,000 just for that county. But if your ballots aren't real, then a recount won't help you. If you've got counterfeit ballots in there, then the whole thing is kind of worthless. So he could spend millions and millions and millions of dollars and get absolutely nothing for his trouble.
Okay, well, Clint, tell us real quick. So you certified the election. You had a deadline date, all ROV clerks. You certified that election. And was it afterwards that your teams went through? Like, what did it look like? How did it come about?
No, we found it ahead of time. We found the problem, but we haven't proved the problem. If you're not going to certify an election, then you actually need absolute proof. You don't need suspicion, which is why we hand it off to people who do it, because we're not equipped. In fact, I'm not even allowed to do any sort of investigation on the ballots or anything else. I'm basically ministerial. If we hadn't certified it, they would have certified it themselves. Absolutely, they actually put that in the code. So it doesn't really matter what we do, but we got it out there so when people can investigate it. But we have a deadline and we have statutes, and that's what we have to follow. Same way with the statute as right now. He has to deposit $9,000 if he wants to do Shasta County, which I think he should wait on Shasta and do something else if he wants to do that, because we secured all those ballots, locked them up, sealed the doors, so nobody, including staff or me, can get in there and touch anything. But if he wants to do a recount, we're going to have to pull all that out of there, and at that point, anything can happen. So it's better if he's going to push forward and get an investigation by authorities that they are the ones who pull it out and check it, and we touch nothing.
Okay, so a couple of things. Mark, I'm going to go to you. Senator Mark Finchem, Election Fairness Institute. Mark, all I know is this is crazy. How is this fair? They did not get the extension. Everything is locked up in Shasta. He's got 1 day to do this. How is this election fairness? Can you explain that to me?
That's a great question, Kim. So the system is built to cheat. It's built to tamper. Okay. And what we're seeing is simply barriers to accountability. Now, and by the way, Clint's a good friend of mine. I'm a Republican. He's a Democrat. This is not a party thing. This is a people thing. That's right. This cuts across all stripes politically. Okay. And at the end of the analysis, We should be focused on what is the choice of the people. And rules have been put in place, for example, certification of an election. All right, well, the only thing you can certify is that you have received these ballots and they have been counted. That's all. So it's a misnomer to say, oh, I'm certifying that this election is complete and accurate. Only to the extent of we received 5,500 ballots and we counted all 5,500, period. And just stop. All right. You don't get to do anything else. So I think Clint is completely correct, where those ballots need to be sequestered. There's a number of tests that could be done that would literally identify the jig is up. How about this for, so when people say, well, they look like they were machine printed. Okay. Gas them for prints. If you gas them for prints and there's no print of this on the paper, I guarantee you that was filled out by a machine. It was not filled out by a human being. That is the simplest of all tests, okay? The other thing, if you take a sample of legitimate ballots, let's say 100 of them, put them on a micrometer, you now have a standard to measure the ballots. And if it's off by the thickness of one ballot, plus or minus, you know that you've got fakes. You don't have to go through a complete recount, to Clint's point. There are tests that can be done on those ballots to completely subvert this whole recount engine thing that they want to charge millions of dollars for. That is nothing but total BS. Now, we saw it here in Maricopa County. In fact, it's my understanding we have a grand jury that I guess not supposed to talk about, that's looking at 2020. We had the exact same observation. The problem is 100% of the ballots in the Maricopa County case were printed on vote secure paper. That means it had to be an inside job.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that Raj is going down the right path. And quite frankly, I would probably put Harmeet Dillon's phone number on speed dial and contact the Civil Rights Division in the U.S. Attorney's or Department of Justice. I know that she has deployed election watchers for some of the elections. California is a known rat's nest of election corruption. It is. You haven't had a legitimate election in that state probably for 5 or 6 decades. Since the introduction of equipment, in fact, we now know that every single motherboard, and I'm sure that Clint can probably confirm this, every motherboard of every computer system that counts ballots has a chip on it that is a real-time communications chip with the CCP. That's called selection. That's not called election.
Yes,
okay?
yes. And this is huge, Mark. Don't go anywhere. You're coming right back to this conversation. For those that don't know Clint's background, it's important. Clint was hired by the Bush administration in the early 2000s to write the code to flip the vote in the machines. He was a coder. He did what coders do. He didn't know how it was going to be used. He became the Congress whistleblower. Crickets. Okay, here we are. He's now the Shasta County Registrar of Voters clerk, and Shasta County is known as the epicenter for election transparency because of what Clint implemented with the proven method, the additional election security feature, which has allowed for every single ballot that's entered the tabulator to be videoed, live streamed, so that you all can see, so that we, the people, are taking our power back. We can audit these ballots before they even certify. That is powerful. So back to you, Mark.
Well, I would add, okay, that only deals with one small component of the system.
That's right.
When you have mail-in ballots or ballots that are outside of the election office, the election environment, you have no chain of custody. You can count ballots all day long. I mean, here's a grand example. Wisconsin. More ballots than registered voters. I'm pretty sure that happens in California too.
We saw that in Riverside,
Okay.
45,000
So-
more ballots
Yeah.
than
Okay. So
voters.
how?
But we
how
actually
can the
fixed that in
Secretary of
Shasta because we actually do what they're supposed to do. And when those ballots come in, now we don't know if they're forged, we don't know if they're fake, but we know they came in. We actually have the dual counts, we have the logs. Our ballots actually match perfectly votes to voters. It did
And
never
that is
do that before.
probably why. That's probably why Shasta County is one of the best exemplars for Raj to ask for a recount. But I would recommend, before you go into this grand expense of counting votes and all that, count the ballots, use a micrometer, measure them, go against a known sample. In fact, have a couple of known samples so that you have a degree of certainty. And if it's off, you know that you've got fraudulent ballots in the system. Now, that only deals with one piece of the puzzle.
But California lets you do none of that. So he has to go to court and he has to get a judge, and his path may not be
Judges-
quite as quick, but it could be the most important thing involving election integrity in forever.
This is the
Judges
time.
appointed by his opposition. Yeah, that's a problem. So it means that you're probably going to have to go outside of the state system and go to the federal system. And that's where the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division comes in. Now, I'm pretty sure that the Secretary of State of the state of California would prefer to deal with a county elections official than somebody from DOJ. So my recommendation, hey, I'm in Arizona. We got enough of our own problems, but California makes us look like all-stars.
Okay, may I?
Yes, Raji.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lit. Thanks, Mark. Fantastic, overview of things. But I'm a realistic guy. I'm a now plan guy, today guy, and I'm sending a very strong letter. And I'm sending this message to SOS right now as I'm talking to you, the people, and I'm sure Secretary of State and Logan and the whole team is watching us. That this is about transparency. Facts are facts. I'm honored to have Clint and Mark here talk about what the American people are facing, what the doubts are. So whenever there is a doubt in election system, there should not be a pushback. I personally feel a pushback. I'm the candidate for the highest office, Governor of California, and I'm getting a pushback. Why shouldn't I be asked to say, bring your problem, let's sit down together, let's talk on the table, bring everybody in, and let's clarify this. That would be the approach I would expect from a level of Secretary of State, not to say to me that, no, you will not get an extension. Why not? I'm asking for transparency. And if Shasta County is the one that I've selected to start my recount from, so be it. They should say, sure, go ahead. And what did Clint ask for? All Clint said was, look, we have this situation. We are trying to clarify it. We have already passed it to the feds. Maybe 15 days will give a clear time for you to go to the recount when the ballots have already been screened out by the federal agency. What's wrong with that? All he's saying is, why you have to go through ballots that are already compromised, questionable. It'll be a waste of time and energy and fooling the people and fooling the system, fooling ourselves. So in view of all this that we've just discussed, I'm going to make a very strong letter. Before I go, I know the only approach and the path that is clear to me right now is federal court. But before doing that, I want to give one more opportunity to Secretary of State to use her powers under the California Constitution and her duties and responsibility to step up and look at this situation as extraordinary. Look at the situation where a top official, for God's sake, ROV of a county has raised this issue as questionable and marked ballots on the side for investigation. And then I'm being told by SOS to no, go ahead and recount those ballots even if they are questionable. That's not good. That is loud and clear. Look, this is not an issue of red and black and blue and white. This is an issue for all of us. Like I said, voices don't have colors. This is the time for all of us to come out together. I'm leading this issue and I'm committed to get this thing through. I'm going to move out to the federal court, but I want to give everybody a fair opportunity. I'm going to give this fair opportunity to Secretary of State. If she wants, I'm willing to sit down with her. If she wants, I want to bring all the county officials together and ask this question. If there is a doubt, let's clear it out. No pushback on this, because we have to welcome the transparency of election. Otherwise, we are challenging democracy.
I love this. I mean, this is unbelievable. I don't think any of us expected that there was going to be an actual Democrat that stood up and said, hey, this is not right. We, the people, deserve free and fair elections. So, Raji, I'm so grateful for you. Mark.
So, Kim, I'm going to push back a little bit on that.
Okay.
So one of the very first panels we had, and I believe Clint was there for this, in Palm Beach, 2021, maybe late 2021, early 2022.
Okay. Yes.
We had an entire panel of Democrat candidates, local all the way up to state offices, who described election tampering in Florida.
Wow.
They were the panel after the Republican panel.
Mm.
And these are individuals who called out not only their own party, but election officials all over the state for knowingly compromising elections. Because when this information is reported to them, they turn a blind eye. Why? And I talked to Raj about this yesterday. If you're not the selected individual for power brokers, you're not going to get on the ballot. Or if you do get on the ballot, they will see to it that you do not get in the office. That's why I call it selection. You know, Tommy Tuberville is spot on when he says there's at least 6 members in Congress that didn't win elections. They were selected by machines. So whether it's the paper ballot that's been compromised or the tabulation system that's been compromised, the only way to get past this, and I know it's not very popular with some county officials, I know Clint buys into it, paper ballots voted on site with photo ID on election day.
Yes.
And not counted until the polls close.
Yes.
Period. That's the only way to do it. Because then you have a known universe of documents. You start in the morning. You start in the morning with ballot number 1. You know that you have 5,000 ballots that have been printed. You end the day with 4,500 ballots. You know that you have 500 in reserve. There's your parameter. That's the initial part of an audit trail. You know how many documents you have in the universe. And then when you count them in public. Clint's got a great program that you can see the counting. All right,
That's right.
Stop a second. Can we just give the people back their elections so that they can witness the counting? Why do people object to that?
I have a
Because the
question.
power brokers want to do it behind closed doors.
May
I'll
I?
shut up.
Yes, Raji.
So I
Yes,
have a
that's
question
good,
about
Mark.
I heard about the video recording of the Shasta County operation system, and I also know that there's a lot of abnormalities that were detected or were absent from the videos. Could you talk a little bit about that claim? And one more thing about the printing of ballots. I have this issue I raised in the U.S. Supreme Court. I said, we don't know how many ballots have been printed. Who is printing those ballots? Are these security companies? Are they security cleared? Who are these companies that have been given contracts after contract for ballot printing? And then what's the first number that was printed? What is the last number of ballot that was printed? So that we know after that no more ballots were printed. The situation right now, what people ask me is, what's the limit of ballots? What if one side suddenly decides to print more ballots, and if they're trying to compromise election integrity, which has already been compromised? And the question I raised in my case in U.S. Supreme Court was that there is no end to printing ballots. So if somebody is in trouble, or one county or one ROV decides that, okay, or he has some instruction, or if there's a lobby or a special interest behind it, that we are behind, we need to print more ballots, and we have to dodge
Right.
the system, there is no way to audit that because there's no serial number. Even it has to be hidden, there has to
No
be a serial number.
accountability. Mhm.
And where are those trash ballots? Where is the residue of all the ballots? How are they transferred from the printing press to the the counties or the secretary, and where are they stored after they have been scanned? So the ballots are brought to the election center, they are scanned, and the original ballots are then moved back, and we are just depending on the images. That was one. Other question that I raised with you yesterday,
Just
which
a minute.
is
Just
about
hold on, Raj. Before you,
Hang on,
you move
Rajiv.
on,
Mark.
before you
Mhm.
move on, Raj, because you made an
yeah,
important
quick.
point there.
Just one little
No,
point.
no. Hold on, because you just made a very important point about
Go ahead.
ballots that might be spoiled. All of the documentation must be preserved if there's a federal question on the ballot for 22 months, 52 CFR 20701. They must be preserved. If one is spoiled, it has to be preserved. Every single record. That means the electronic record on the machines. That means the paper that went through them. All of it.
All
if
the
that's been
video
destroyed,
of the
that's
ballot
I'm
entering the
talking-
tabulator, every bit of it. Yep.
And
If it's been destroyed, that is a criminal violation under U.S. code. Go
And
ahead.
I'm talking about the printing press, all that trash that accumulated there. We don't know where that's going. If there are extra ballots that are printed over there, where is that being stored? What is the process? Is it clear? Do people know that, okay, ballots are being transported now from the printing press to here, to there, whatnot? That is totally vague. Now, another issue that I raised yesterday was conflict of interest. If there is a chief election officer, and I'm sure Secretary of State is watching this, if there's a chief election officer and that chief election officer is running for office, how does that not conflict of interest come in? Now, we have seen Secretary of States in the past, who have run for certain offices, and they've been holding the office of the chief election officer. So I want to raise that point too, and I'm going to raise that down the line when I go to Fed court, that if we want complete transparency, we have to have officials who are not participating, at least in the election themselves.
Mhm.
Katie
All right.
Hobbs,
Katie Hobbs, yeah.
Secretary of State, Arizona, certified her own questionable election
Thank you very much.
to be governor. I rest my case. I rest your case.
So those are the little things that people are questioning, specifically when I went out county to county, door to door. I did not leave any stone unturned. 32 million ads going weekly, 3,000 million ad 2 years, people recognizing me on the street, and the number from Los Angeles comes out to like 500, 600. The number coming
So
from
go back for a second. Rajiv, what was your final count? How
So
many
the-
votes did you get?
So it was about 600, or how much was it, Laura? 700 from Los Angeles County. Total count came out to like
35.
about 3,300 or 3,500 from all around California, where the number that we had very reasonably, very negatively come down to 3 million in a worst case scenario.
And they did not let you on debate stages. You
Oh
are
my
a
God.
Democrat.
I was blocked from the debates. I was trying left, right, every opportunity, every door I knocked, I was completely blocked out. I was given number 6 on the surveys, and then I was pushed back down. And I did not mind that because I was working on the numbers and I had the numbers. I was not worried, but they put my face down in the mud to show that go and do whatever the hell you can. It feels like animosity to me. It feels like prejudice. It feels like because of taking them to your Supreme Court a few times, they've already, look at me as a rebel, but I look at myself as a pure American, as a Democrat to the hilt. But there is no such thing as Democrat or Republican when it comes to fairness of elections, because I believe we both have good opinions, we have difference of opinion, but we are all about America. And my number one goodwill towards the people and fellow Americans in California was money in the pocket, because you cannot just keep making money or raising budget by squeezing the money out of people, by raising taxes. We needed global investment. We need them now. I was on it. I'm at it. I was loved by the people. I believe I was definitely among the top two. And this is the force of the people that compelled me to go and fight this with the SOS. And I'm going to give her one more chance today by sending another request for extension. If she doesn't approve of it, there's no way. One more thing.
You've not kissed the right ring, man. That's the deal. You've not kissed the right ring.
One more thing. 58 counties were notified. 58 counties were notified.
By the Secretary of State.
Yeah. And only 15 of them reached out to me till 2 days back. Yesterday, suddenly what happened? It started pouring in, and all of them giving me July 16th, the date, magically for me to go to 58 counties or 40, I think 45 counties reached out to me. 15 even haven't reached out to me.
Right.
So
15 of them haven't even contacted you as of yet. How the heck do you get to 58 states? Let's say you have the money to do all of this, which we're going to talk about in a second, why we need the support of the people.
Thank you.
It doesn't make sense. Everything that's happening is not fair. Now, let's go back to Clint for a second. And I want to bring this full circle. So Clint, Mark had mentioned the proven method that you utilize, the additional election security feature, which provided the ability to take a deeper dive on those ballots that entered the tabulator after the election. Well, once they entered, you had that video available. People right there who were in your registrar of voters, like people that were there, that were participating, the regular people could watch it up in front of you. I want to share a little clip of what that looks like. You were at our Take Our California Back to a Better Future statewide summit, and you were showing us how this is being utilized to give power back to the people and for full election transparency. Let me play that video real quick.
This is a backroom meeting. Guys, we got to have some real talk. And why we're going to have real talk is because nobody is coming to save us. Are you guys beginning to see possibility of how we can take our elections back?
I think so.
I mean, what if you actually could count the vote from home? You could see the ballot enter in, getting real numbers in time. Wouldn't that be powerful? Yeah, it would. And be there on location and get real numbers. This is about giving power back to you.
But Clint, is this legal?
Completely legal.
How do you know? How do you know it's completely legal?
Because we've done it, and they tried to stop us and they couldn't. But in California, it's actually what they say they need. They say that they want meaningful observation, which is what this does.
So the Secretary of State sent attorneys up there, the AG sent attorneys up there, and you passed scrutiny. So your ROVs throughout the state of California have no excuse for not implementing this dirt cheap, meaningful observation system.
And it would shut down every computer, because if you caught it, and you could catch it simply at the precinct level, and you could catch it by time, which is kind of interesting. But if someone gave you a ballot like this, you can't show it, right? But you can't show it. Now, obviously, the guy's name's not Mouse, but it does indicate something different than the generic ballot. So this you would pull, right? You wouldn't see that ever. That would then go to adjudication. All the other ballots that you can see, let me do them, just get flipped like that. Over, over, over.
Who's flipping those ballots over?
We have staff that sits there and flips them.
Okay. On every ballot underneath the camera.
Every ballot underneath the camera. Live streamed and recorded. Now, you don't get live streaming on the ones we have to count early. I would like to do it eventually where we don't count anything early.
Yeah.
Because even though we technically don't have the information who's winning, the computer does. So you don't want the computer to know more than you do, because you simply can't trust
Can
the
you
computer.
say that one more time, Clint? You said that the computer counts the ballots.
Right.
That's why, because you created the code that flips the votes in the machines. You lose the power.
You've lost the
We're
power.
not getting a real count.
Right.
But if
Hand it off.
we go through this process, we actually get the real count.
Because you can check it.
Yes.
And you can check it easily. In fact, if there's only one question on the ballot, they would have known the total before I did, because it takes longer to use machines than it will be for hand count.
Okay, that's so good, but that's one piece of it, Clint, because the reality is Raji can go in, he can count the ballots or have those ballots counted in front of him. But if the ballots are counterfeit ballots,
It doesn't matter.
what is it to count? Here we are.
And this will neuter the machine because we couldn't pry the machines away from people yet, but this will allow them to use their machine, but you still see everything ahead of time. Now, in a perfect world, that machine wouldn't exist. And you could actually count this and count it in front of people with a hand count, and it would be a lot cheaper and a lot quicker. We have this thing called Measure B in Shasta County, which they're trying to push hand count, election day, ID, the whole 9 yards, right? So I sat down and did the budget, and it saves half of what the budget is for every election.
It
So
passed.
something-
It passed in
It
Shasta.
did pass, but now it's before the Secretary of State. They have to.
Oh, interesting. Clint just froze. Who is interrupting his feed? All right, we're going to pause on Clint Curtis
So
for a second.
who knows what's really going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah, got it, Clint. You had just paused for a second. Totally gotcha. All right, so guys, full circle. Where do we go from here? Raji, where do we go from here? How can people support? I know that there is a petition, an emergency petition available right now, because this will require funding. Listen, these are our elections. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, no party preference. Raji.
Thank you so much, guys out there. I'm Raji Rab, candidate for the office of the governor, a Democrat. Speaking out to you guys up there. This is not my issue. This is all of us in it. It belongs to all of us. We have to own it. We have to step up. This has been happening for a long time. This has been happening for years. Like Mark said, like Clint said, like we all know. How long are we going to tolerate this system? We have to step up. It's not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's the issue about election integrity. It's the issue about transparency. And I'm reaching out to you guys. I've taken the step. I've filed the dispute. I'm the only guy in the race as a Democrat going against the Democratic state and telling them that this is not okay. You have to welcome every complaint that comes in, whether it comes from the Republican side, whether it comes from the independent or Democratic side. We have to step up. And my complaint has been admitted. Half of it has gone through. The other half is facing a lot of opposition. Opposition that I'm not giving extension to go inspect to go and do the recount in a county that has already encountered a lot of questionable activity. So why should I go and do the counting where the ballots have already been compromised? I would be wasting time of the people, the county, and my own resources to go and recount those ballots that have already been pointed out as questionable. So I'm going to ask Secretary of State again, and I'm going to tell her that there's two ways to go about with it. You step up as under your questionable situation. You step up in line with the constitutional fundamental rights of all the voters, and you stand up in line with your duty and authority in research under the law to step up and participate in this process instead of blocking the process. I'm going to give one more chance before moving to the federal court. Federal court is out there. It's waiting for us to bring all these issues. And also, the email that I received from the SOS yesterday is very controversial. First, it says, hey, we are not going to give you an extension because 16th is the date. We will not give you an extension. And I know what they mean to say is 7 days from the date of receipt of the of my request. Okay, so you're giving me 7 days to do that. But the counties, all of them, almost reached out to me yesterday, and they expect all 58 counties.
These are 2 days. That's it.
To go to all 45 counties. 15 of them haven't even reached out. Probably they're doing it right now, and they expect me to go to each and every county the same day and get this thing done. Number one. Number two,
it's called a barrier to accountability.
And another big thing that the federal court is going to look at, and I love it, and I'm laying it out to you. I'm not hiding any tricks here. I'm sharing with the Secretary of State. The other thing is, it's double standards. You're saying I'm not going to get any extensions. I have to go to Shasta County. At the same time, in the same email, they say, okay, the other counties, we will authorize and we will let you know how and when you can go and do the recount in other counties. So the law, you're allowing me to do the recount in other counties later, but you will not allow me to do that at Shasta County. But this itself is very controversial, double standards. Federal court is going to look at it. So I asked Secretary of State to reconsider,
Yes.
review our statement, give me the extension. Let's be fair. Let's give Shasta County all the room they need every minute they request to bring it out to the people. Yes, I'm using my own resources. I'm choked down. It's killing me. I need definitely financial help in the court with experts and all those things. And I'm not alone in this. I've got
Well, tell us about the petition. So I just put the link down below for the petition. And I'm going to pop up this image real quick because this is something we can all get involved with. So tell us about this petition. And then, Mark, I want you to tell me the importance of the people responding and the people taking their power back. So, Raji, first tell us the power of this petition.
This petition, first of all, sparks out the beginning of a whole new world. This petition brings out the fact that we are not going to remain silent. This petition speaks out clearly that the word trust us wipe is not going to work anymore, and the people have their own mindset demanding clarity. I feel that democracy itself is being hijacked from democracy. We cannot expect us to be told this is what the result is, and if we raise any question, we are supposed to be taken as the opposition or the enemy, or the prejudice kicks in right away. This is the time and opportunity to show the real feeling of America, the real freedom that comes in, and the power of the election lies with the people, not with those who conduct the elections. For that, I need all Americans to come together. This is the time, and this is the opportunity. It's calling us to take our power back, and this is why I'm here.
Come on. And you guys, we can go to RajiRob4Governor.com. You're going to see that on the front page. Go sign the petition, get involved, show up on the street, show up at your city councils, show up down at the Registrar of Voters office, show up. I want to see press conferences. I want to see the people engaged. I know Los Angeles lost their elect. We saw what happened with Spencer Pratt. This is happening all over the state. It's not just the state of California. This is happening across America. The election transparency, the exposure that's coming out now in regards to 2020 is literally, we've got President Trump coming to a special announcement. We don't know what that is, but we see that the disclosure of the elections, of the 2020 election, is literally bombarding social media right now. We know that we've got Maduro, who is singing like a canary right now in regards to election fraud that, yes, Venezuela and other countries were involved in. This is a time that we cannot ride on the coattails of our forefathers anymore. We've got to get in the fight. This is our country. We're about to lose it, and we're about to lose it to socialist, Marxist, atheists at the highest level who have sold out to China. This is the infiltration of China. It's time for we the people to take our power back. Mark, how important is it for the people to take to the streets right now, for the people to take action to support this initiative?
Well, I guess I would frame it this way. We are facing an existential threat to the Republic. What we are watching is the poisoning of our nation. So here's what I would admonish everyone watching. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, or a Cheeto-eating couch sitter. If you are unhappy, pick the battle that you want to fight. Right now, I would urge my Republican colleagues, my Republican friends in California, this is the battle, because we have a Democrat challenging a corrupt governor, Gavin Newsom, who has been running this Shylock operation for well over a decade. California has already sunken into Marxism. They just don't know it yet. So whether you're Republican, Democrat, I don't care. Whether you're even a California resident, you could be in New York. Well, maybe not New York. Iowa, Nebraska. I don't care where you're at.
Mm.
Okay. If this is the battlefield that we can fight on, make a contribution, get this thing funded, give the state of California's Secretary of State no defensible space. Now, it's going to have to be a two-pronged attack. I would not go out into the streets. Save your energy and dip into your wallet. Make a contribution.
Wow.
Point number 2. The second thing that needs to happen is every single document you have, get that to the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, Harmeet Dillon. She's going to take a look at it because they've already sized up California for an electoral coffin. All right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of thing that sparks DOJ intervention.
Yes.
Now, here in Arizona, for example, because of all the shenanigans that have gone on since 2016 in Maricopa County, myself, Wendy Rogers, Senator Rogers, and several other senators in the Republican caucus have appealed to the Department of Justice to place Maricopa County under federal monitoring. Yeah, that ought to scare the ever-living life out of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. Let me explain why. Sheriff Joe Arpaio was falsely placed under federal monitoring because his officers were harassing Latinos. Well, no, actually, it took longer to explain traffic laws to somebody who doesn't speak English. They were not harassing them. They were enforcing the law. However, that has now cost Maricopa County $330 million for federal monitoring to have some guy by the name of Warshaw continue to look at other reasons why they should stay under. It's a cottage industry. This guy's making a ton of money. The point is, it was ordered by a federal judge. It is costing the taxpayers a lot. It is forcing the sheriff's office to do certain things. Okay. Why is that not the same architecture that we could apply to elections in the state of California, in the counties that are worst, the counties that carry the majority of the population? I'm sure LA would probably be top among them. So making sure that you get your documentation together, save everything. Make sure that if the documentation, and I know Clint's all over this like ugly on an ape, anything that comes through his office has to be preserved, because at some point that's going to end up in a federal courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
And finding the right federal judge, hopefully you draw one that cares more about the republic than about power brokers. You're going to have to be able to make that case, and you're going to have to make it well. So that comes back to what? Funding. Again, I say, if doesn't matter, you're Republican, Democrat. Right now, we don't have a Republican that even has a prayer in the People's Republic of California. Okay, well, let's play with the hand we've been dealt. That means if you want to challenge the system, fund this Democrat to make sure that the election system gets hauled before public inspection. Now, if this were in Arizona, we'd be funding a Republican to do the same thing. This is so much more important than party.
Yes.
This is the people's ownership of the election process. And if people look around and they're thinking, something isn't quite right here. We got more ballots than people. Everybody I've talked to voted for somebody other than Gavin Newsom. We've got ballots that show up in a dumpster. Things are not adding up here. All right. So if people don't like the way things are going in their community, in their state, time to stand up, because it is affecting you. It's an existential threat to the survival of this nation.
Come on. Clint,
I-
what message does it send when a county like Shasta is willing to lead on election transparency, regardless of which party is requesting it?
Well, that's what it should be. That's what every one of them should be. I was just thinking as he was talking, if he needs to preserve starting the recount by tomorrow, he may want to look at MODOK because they have a total of 3,000 people or something like that. So he might be able to hold on to that particular process for very little money. And by going to the little guys first, if they let him do the other ones after, and he goes to court and he gets access to see the ballots, because once he breaks that open in Shasta County, it's broken all across California. And I think you'll start to have fair elections, because while I can make sure the machines can't cheat you, I can't make sure there isn't counterfeit stuff coming in that will cheat you the same. And it's very well done. It's not like on a scanner. So this is a bigger problem than like just in Shasta County. I would say this is probably a professional network of people doing this wherever they need to do it.
I would add to that, Raj, when you are able to do your audit as part of that recount, ask for 100, use the micrometer and have a scale. A baking scale, by the way, would be perfect. All right. And ask for 100 ballots that have not been voted. They're going to have to pull those from inventory so that you get a true weight of legitimate documents. Then start doing samples, random samples. Pull 100 documents, weigh them, or put them on a micrometer and weigh them. Your variation better be very fine.
You want the bad news in California. In California, they wrote a law. They can get rid of every one of those spare ballots immediately after the election. So you have nothing to reference.
Check out those apples.
Isn't that cute?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
They probably saw this. They probably saw this question coming.
I love what Mark said, Clint said, specifically about what SOS recently, yesterday mentioned, that I'm not allowed to touch any of the ballots during the inspection. Can you believe that? You go millions
How the heck
of
do you
dollars.
inspect it then?
Yeah. How do you recount? You have to stand back, 6 feet away from the guys who are doing this and just believe the same thing that happened. And for the same reason that you are there to watch them do that, one. And the second thing is that if I try to now go back and say, okay, I want to start from MODOK, they say, we already approved you to go to Shasta tomorrow. And at the same time, we have stopped everybody else. And they will allow me to go to other counties later, but they would not allow me to go to Shasta later before anybody else.
All you have is right now
Okay.
for Shasta,
Yes.
according to them.
By
Mark?
the way, when they start the recount, demand that the individual touching the ballot wears gloves. And here's why. Ultimately, you are going to ask for those ballots to be gassed for prints.
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
want, if there's no fingerprints on those ballots, you're sure as heck do not want that guy's fingerprints on them. They need to wear cotton gloves,
Good.
so that they can't contaminate the ballots.
But I think they already scanned the ballot. The fingerprints are all over those ballots because they already used, their hands.
That's okay. That's okay. So if you've got one or two elections officials that are touching the ballots, all right, you're going to have their prints. What I'm trying to say is limit the number of prints that are going to be on that
Yes.
ballot, because if you have the same print showing up on ballot after ballot and you're able to say, well, these are 2 or 3 elections officials, and then all of a sudden you have no fingerprints other than election officials on the ballots, so how did that ballot get voted?
Absolutely. And TRO
That's what happens
is
when you're
the direction
21
that
years. 21 years a crime investigator. It happens.
I hear it. I'm documenting everything right here in my head, and I'm not backing out. I've taken this responsibility. It is my privilege, honor, and a huge built-in responsibility for the voters that has been endowed on me by becoming a candidate to take it all the way, for not one reason, for a bazillion reasons for all of us. And I call upon all the federal agencies who are watching this right now that I'm here to cooperate. I'm going to extend maximum cooperation. I have enough data for the federal court and for the federal agencies who are investigating this matter, in the interest of transparency of the vote count, in the interest of the transparency of our elections, in the interest of the democracy for all fellow Americans in California and nationwide America.
Wow. Gentlemen, this was a very big bite today. This show, it was imperative that we did this broadcast. This is huge for the state of California. Here's my question. Can there be created the possibility that there is a recount, not just a counting of the counterfeit ballots and the ballots, if there are counterfeit ballots, but a true recount in every county? Like the specialist went into the counties and it didn't cost the people anything, but the state paid for it. Is that even a possibility?
I think that would be a fantastic way of removing the wall between the voters and the election results. Right now,
but the executive is going to say that we do not have a legislative authorization to spend the money. Here's one of the questions I would have, and this goes back to something that Clint said about destroying all the ballots that were not voted. What's the paper source?
Yeah.
All you need is 100 sheets of the actual paper. You don't need to have the ballot. So if for example, in Shasta County, does Shasta County print its own ballots, or do you get those from a printer?
Unfortunately, we do not print our own ballots, which is a bad thing because we don't control how many are printed or what's out there. But it comes from Runbeck in Arizona.
Oh, God.
I know.
I love it.
You know Runbeck, yeah.
And they cover half of the country.
So I'm going to offer, this is kind of, we're spitballing this, all right? If I were going to solve this problem, I would contact Runbeck and ask them for a micrometer reading of 100 sheets of vote paper for Shasta County.
Micrometer
They can do that and give it to you over the friggin' phone and then confirm it with an email with their result. That is the basis for your standard to say,
beautiful.
Here's what we're going to measure.
Okay. Well, it's go time. Clint, any final words today?
I was going to say, if he is able to get an investigation going, use professional people to do the investigation. Don't try and do it yourself, because your results are going to change the direction that elections go in this country. So you want to be the very best.
Okay, well said. Mark, any final words for you? And then we're going to complete with Raji.
I would say ditto to my good friend Clint Curtis.
Excellent.
The problem that a lot of individuals make when they try to do a recount, they have their people do it. Having an independent third party, for example, a licensed private investigator. You're further ahead to have, there's an outfit here in Mesa, which does a lot of analysis of computer systems, does a lot of analysis of election stuff. I'm happy to give you the number of the guy. I don't know how fast he can respond, but to Clint's point, make sure you've got somebody who's a qualified professional who is at least an arm's length transaction from yourself.
Beautiful. And Raji, you have taken on a big bite. We are here to support you every step of the way. I am a mom. I have 4 kids. I am a grandma. My vote was stolen in 2020 when they told me I had voted. They told the couple before my husband and I that they had voted. We filled out a provisional ballot, not knowing anything. Like I said, I was riding on the coattails of my forefathers, thinking freedom was free. What a wake-up call. It's now time for we the people to take our power back. Raji, what are your words to the people today, to Republicans, to Democrats, to independents, to non-party preference, to the people of the state of California?
To all you people out there, this is the time to come together as one. This is the time to put our opinions aside. We love our difference of opinion. That's what makes America powerful. That makes us stronger, not weaker. That's our strength, to have our difference of opinion, and then we go, rise, and shine, and be the obsolete power in the world. We are the leaders of the free world. We send our people to check and inspect elections around the world, but right here in our own backyard, we have a big problem, and that problem is election integrity. I'm calling upon you to come, join hands. We need funding in this matter. We need transparency in this matter, but I cannot do this alone. And this matter is ultimately going to the federal court, because I'm going to give another opportunity to Secretary of State to give me an extension, because they're already stopping me. And like Clint said from Shasta County, that I will not be allowed to touch any ballots. I will not be allowed to bring any expert. I will not be allowed to bring any professionals with me. So I will need an order from the federal court to take the experts there and to do a real examination and transparency of the election for the best of democracy, the best of election integrity. I think this is such a great moment in time that I, as a Democrat, the person running for the highest office, the office of the governor of California, is challenging the state of California to bring it clear, to open doors for transparency, to stop the pushback, to let me in, not to put conditions, to welcome every complaint that comes in from any direction, whether it comes from a Republican, independent, or Democrat. All complaints should be welcome, to look at that California is a state for everyone, not just for one, not for those who intend to hijack democracy or want to implement selection to replace election. I will not let that happen. I'm fighting, and I'm going to fight all the way. Need your support on this. Come join me.
So good. The information is below to support and sign this emergency petition. You can go to Raji Rob for governor. And I'm waiting for it to scroll by so I can say it to you. So tell me what it is, Raji Rob for governor.com, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Raji Rob for governor.com. Please go there. Be generous. Put in your support. I will do the fight. I will do the running around. I will not let you exhaust your resources. Just come in and help me. I will make the difference.
Okay.
I promise you.
Gentlemen, I want to say thank you. Raji, thank you for being in the fight. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for reaching out to Clint Curtis. Clint Curtis, thank you for staying in the fight. Thank you for standing in election transparency, giving power back to the people. And thank you for opening up Shasta, saying yes, whether you're independent, Democrat, Republican, NPP, you're welcome to come in. If the Secretary of State says yes, come on in. It is open house. Let's look at those ballots. Thank you, Clint Curtis. And Mark Fincham, Election Fairness Institute. Mark, you are a dear friend. So grateful for you. So grateful for your wisdom, your input, your advice. We will keep these lines of communication open. You know what it is to be in the fight. You have fought for Arizona, and you've been fighting behind the scenes for this country. So thank you, Mark Fincham.
My pleasure.
And I'll see you all on the other side. All right, don't you all go anywhere right now, because we're not done yet. I want to close up the show powerfully today. This is about we the people, isn't it? This is about your vote and your voice being heard. This is about the voters saying, you know what, I trust the elections. I trust that my ballot, real ballot with my voice, the people I voted for, the measures I voted for has entered into that ballot box. It was properly counted. You deserve that. It's going to take something to keep this republic. It's going to take you and your involvement and Raji's involvement and Clint and Mark and all of us. And you saw, we didn't just stay in California. This is a United States of America issue. It is a world global issue. And we're about to hear more about that in regards to even the 2020 election. So with that being said, we're going to close out today's show. But you do know that today we were supposed to have an exclusive interview with Don Bohanna, a 3-part series. Today was part 1. And Don Bohanna was the man who was imprisoned for 25 years, wrongly imprisoned, wrongly accused for the killing of Michael Jackson's sister-in-law. Now, we're seeing the corruption in elections. Let me just tell you, there's corruption everywhere, and the proof is in the pudding. And he has filed a declaration of innocence. There is proof, and that will come forth, or that will be looked at by the DA on the 24th. It goes to court. But you're going to hear the whole story. Next week, same time, same place, you're going to show up right here. You deserve to know the truth. You know, they say how we do one thing, we do everything. So if there's corruption happening in one area, do we not think it's happening in just about every area? It absolutely is. And now's the time. You're here. We're here. We've been put here for such a time as this. And it is time for we the people to take our power back. So today, what we saw was a Democrat stepped up. Not that other Democrats haven't stepped up, but look, what did you see? This isn't Republican. It's not Democrat. It's not NPP. It's not independent. This is a we the people issue. We deserve transparent elections. Raji Robb filed the petition. He's demanding that every vote be counted and verified, right? Making sure it's not a counterfeit ballot, verified. And in doing so, he's reminded us of a fundamental truth. Free and fair elections are not a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. They are a bipartisan issue. They belong to every Californian who believes their voice should matter. You see, the Secretary of State has now set the stage for the recount to begin in Shasta County, no later than tomorrow. It is crunch time. The other 57 counties have been told to stand by. The process is moving forward nonetheless. You heard Raji's words today. You saw the advice given to him by Mark Fincham and by Clint Curtis, who is very willing to open up the Shasta County ROV. The principle remains the same. Every legal ballot deserves to be counted accurately and transparently. This is how we take our power back, not by choosing sides. We don't have time for this crap and this division that has been strategically created in a uniparty. No more division. This is what we do. We stand together for the integrity of the vote, the people's vote and voice being heard. I'm Kim Yater. I want to say thank you for being with us today on the Take Your Power Back show in this emergency broadcast. Thank you for demanding transparency. And remember, when it comes to free and fair elections, we are all on the same side. So stay with us as we're coming back next week, same time, same place, for Dawn Bohanna's exclusive interview. Now listen. Remember that God is with you and that God is with us. And it is in God that we put our trust and where we have our real source of freedom. I love you. God bless you. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. This is Kim Yater signing out.
Thank you for joining us for the Take Your Power Back show. As Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater speaks to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Listen in weekly and learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be encouraged, be inspired, be transformed as you step into your power and take action in your leadership and allow your voice to be heard. Together, let's take your power back. To sponsor and support the Take Your Power Back show, go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com and take your power back.